Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to Fate Stay Night Remastered. We're now in a bit of an interlude it seems, as in the last episode I don't want to say wasted our time, but I decided to go for what I felt like was the wrong choice. I led us down the route to my first bad ending in this playthrough. I kind of had an idea that that would lead to it. It just, there was a feeling deep down that no, that was not right, but my curiosity got the better of me. We all know the saying that the curiosity did indeed kill a cat of some sort. Just this time around, the cat was us, and we got to actually get a little something out of it, I would say. We got to see that, okay, Ryder, we should be, a little cautious about, if, I wasn't already going to be cautious about, and Caster is another that we got to be wary of. Caster is out and about, and I do think there's already a bit of an alliance that has been formed. We already have some enemies, so we also should just be wary of Shinji overall, if, we weren't already going to. Anyways, let's continue on. It's a quiet, windless night. It's past midnight. Darkness blankets the sky. The town itself is like a dark sea illuminated only by moonlight. Overhead, the clouds move across the sky. At ground level, there's not a breath of wind. Higher up, the air must be roaring as the clouds swim by. Maybe she hears the inaudible wind. She mutters quietly as she looks up into the windy sky. The young girl known as Saber stands quietly in the middle of the yard, glaring up at the sky. Her golden hair is beautiful even in the dark of the night. Her clear green eyes remain on the moon as it flickers in and out of view. She glances toward the corner of the yard once. And there is an old shed. Her lord sleeps there. Yeah, he does for some reason. And there's a heavy clang. Oh, she's gonna go run off. God damn it. The sound of iron melts into the darkness without reaching anyone's ears. The moon hides and then reveals itself once again. As the clouds above float past, the girl's appearance changes radically. Solid, heavy armor. She can no longer be called a girl in her blue raiment. Now, she is shrouded in steely armor woven of magical energy intense enough that it would overwhelm all others. In her hand, she holds an invisible sword concealed by the same magical energy that surpasses human understanding. There's a lot of things that kind of surpass human understanding, or at least my understanding here in this story, but the figure once considered undefeatable in the battlefield proves that someone like her still exists in this day and age. Though her sword is invisible, the majestic air she exudes proves her exceptional skill as a swordsman. This is what has made her Saber, the hero of the sword, said to be the strongest of all 7 servants, a knight among knights who remains ever civil and acts according to her lord's will. Whatever the other heroic spirits may be like, she remains the ideal swordsman who would never defy her lord. But yeah, there's the but that ends tonight. She is here defying her lord's orders. Rather, she is not truly disobeying her lord. This is her way of bringing her lord victory, the result of her own determination. But this master will never change his ways. Then it must be her duty to be heartless. If her master will not fight, then his sword must. But that still poses no hindrance in battle. I kind of disagree. After confirming her own abilities, she returns her gaze to the moon. She has no concern for the shed where her lord sleeps any longer. Now that she is armed and wearing her armor, the only thing on her mind is defeating her enemies. The moon darkens. The moment a large cloud covers the sky, Saber jumps over the walls of the mansion grounds. She runs through the darkness. the silvery swordsman rushes through the sleeping town. She has but one destination, Ryudo Temple, sitting at the heart of the sacred mountain on the town's outskirts. Even Saber understands how difficult it will be to single-handedly defeat the master lurking in the temple. Shirou is correct. She is bound to suffer great injury, or at worst, die herself. But how can she call herself a servant if she cannot do the impossible? Servants are driven by their superior abilities and unassailable pride. They are proud as heroes, and have earned that confidence in the numerous battles they fought. As heroic spirits whose lore has been passed down and respected since ancient times, they cannot lose, no matter who they face. She cannot even imagine defeat. Well, you're about to if you continue, going along with this. She is no exception. However, much of her innocence may still be left to her. Being granted the title of Saber is all the more reason that she cannot ignore that pride. And that pride will not allow her to just sit by and do nothing when she can face her enemy. And so she must brave any traps that may await her and face her enemy even if she is alone. If she has no chance of winning, then she must simply use her sword to create one. Her sword is a celebrated blade. It has cut countless enemies down. As long as she has invisible air, there is nothing for her to fear. She runs through the mountain pass and up the road leading to the temple. After she cuts through the mountain pass, an imposing stone staircase awaits her. Honestly, she might have slightly better luck going here now that she's alone rather than Shirou being here, based on what we saw with Caster. It is certainly different than the Ryudo Temple she remembers. The air is stagnant. The wind is barren. The land's lifeline was contaminated long ago. This place is a land of death. The moment one enters, there can be no escape. She does not hesitate. Saber does not so much as break stride as she runs up the steps. Scenery flies by. Her footsteps echo on the stone stairs, and the mountain begins to stir. The stairs are long, stretching across a great distance. The temple gates are far, even for Saber, who shoots up the stairs like an arrow. So long are the stairs that it is impossible for one to pass through the gate undetected. An ambush surely awaits along the way. Reaching the gate will not be easy. Whatever schemes may await her, she must simply smash through them and keep moving. Nothing will stop her. I don't know. Even were Berserker to appear before her, she would break through. I don't know about that one either. Such is her determination, her confidence. I mean, I respect the confidence, but based on what we saw in the previous episode and what we saw with Berserker, I just have a lot of doubts. She's reached the top. Just as she is about to reach the temple gates, the obstacle presents itself. Here we go. Oh. Oh? Who the hell's this? Who is this? Saber stops. Despite her determination to push through no matter what enemy she faces, she is surprised by what she finds. It appears so naturally, like a breeze. The man appears before her, lacking any trace of enmity, but leaves not a single opening for an attack. Saber stops and readies her invisible sword. The man before her, backlit by the moon, ignores Saber's menacing glare as if it were nothing to him. Is this assassin? She has heard about them, but she is bewildered by the sight of one. This is her second Holy Grail War. Even though she has seen many other heroic spirits, this is her first time seeing a servant like him. Sweat beads on Saber's brow. She isn't afraid, rather she is struggling to comprehend the situation. It is not as if she has never encountered strange servants. Certainly there was no stranger and more mysterious servant than the archer of the previous war. By comparison, the servant before her is hardly frightening and possesses no incredible weaponry. And that is exactly what makes it strange. She senses nothing from the man. There is no doubt that he is a servant, but he seems to possess neither a noble phantasm nor magical energy. He should be an easy foe. Their fight should end in a single blow. But her instincts give her one very simple warning. Don't underestimate him. This servant has a means of inflicting instant death. She can't get close. His katana is unconventionally long for a Japanese sword, making it hard to gauge spacing. But more than that, Saber's position puts her at a huge disadvantage. I've seen longer. I have fought Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts. The man stands at the top of the stairs and Saber stands below him. He's about 5 meters from her. His sword will reach her before she can rush him, but she feels nothing from his sword. Repelling it should be easy. She should not be afraid to step in, but Saber senses somehow that she should not. Probably the right thing to do, like, let's not just jump on in. Saber adjusts her grip on her sword and glares at the enemy ahead of her. She may not know his identity, but she should at least be able to determine his class. Saber doesn't expect an answer. After a brief smile... Oh, shit. Wait, is that actually his true name? The servant's reply is given in a sing-song voice. Saber cannot help but be surprised. Servants generally conceal their identities. What sort of servant would so bluntly and proudly give his name? I've heard a similar explanation back in Bleach. The man who introduced himself as Sasaki Kojiro, the assassin, appears to enjoy Saber's confusion. There is no way Saber knows. She has no idea this servant is a swordsman who wields a long sword called... What the fuck? I don't even know where to begin with that one. That one has way too many syllables for me. Let's give it a try. Mono Hoshizao, and was rumored to have been an unrivaled swordsman during the what era? The Kaicho era in Japan? Knowing, of course, would change nothing. The man's origin is unknown, and even his existence is uncertain. His story was told only by word of mouth, and there is perhaps only one person in the world who knows the true identity of the man who was hailed as the greatest swordsman in the world. The man who never left a mark in history, but was Sasaki Kojiro's arch enemy, and the only one to have ever defeated him. So how can this man be called a hero? The assassin, Sasaki Kojiro, is a presence far removed from Saber herself. Who among heroic spirits could know the abilities of a swordsman who could not himself normally be a heroic spirit? Two things are clear for her. One is that the man before her is an enemy, and the other is that he has willingly identified himself. Saber's voice is grave. Revealing her true name possesses an immense risk. She cannot reveal her true name even under torture, nor does she have any intention of doing so. However, this is only in the name of her pursuit of victory. For this same reason, she cannot tarnish her knight's honor.
Yoi. 名乗れば名乗り返さねばならぬ相手であったか。いや、無粋な真似をしたのは私であった。
The man descends the stairs gracefully. Assassin confronts Saber, taking slow steps down the stairs.
そのようなことで敵を知ろうとは思わぬ。我らにとって敵を知るにはこの刀だけで十分であろう。
And so Saber's true identity remains a secret. God damn it, I want to know it. I'm doing a terrible job of trying to figure out
セイバーのサーバン
what her true name could be because nobody's telling me anything either. Nobody wants to tell me whether or not, like, you know, is it, you know, any gender of any time period, you know, of any mythology or reality. Nobody wants to tell me, like, where are my limits, basically, you know? Because if I want to start doing some research, you know, I got to have like a starting point without accidentally finding the answer.
そう驚くこともあるまい。貴様の持つそれが何であるかは分からぬが、身にまとった殺気は剣士のもの。目がくらむほどの美しい剣気。その貴様がセイバー以外の何者であろうか。
He takes a step closer. Assassin descends the stone steps and he points his sword at Saber.
神名など知らずともよい。ただ、セイバーというサーバントがこの刃に敗れるだけの話だ。言葉で語るべきことなど皆無。もっとより、サーバントとはそういうものであろ
う。The swordsman laughs joyfully.
なるほど。それは確かにその通りです。
As Saber speaks, she readies her sword.
それでよい。では、果たし合おうぞ、セイバー。サーバント随一と言われるその剣に、しかと見せてもらわねばな。
Oh ho, here we go. A silver light leaps, solid and soft. The battle between two very different swordsmen begins under the moonlight. And we have the new servant data, and that is the end of our interlude. We also have new weapon data. I'll go read all of that right now. So, does this mean that there are 3 masters that are potentially, you know, grouped up and teamed up? Maybe. At least 3 servants are kind of working together because we saw Ryder and Caster on the way up to the temple. We never saw Assassin. We never did. I don't know, guys. I don't know. But let's do a little bit of research here. So Caster, yeah, technically don't have anything. They're going to be the last one that we find anything about. But we did get our, you know, our glimpse into who they are, kind of. Okay, Assassin, or Sasaki Kojiro. He's neutral evil. Lovely. Noble Phantasm is completely unknown. His agility and luck are up there, man. He is up there. No magic. Strength is, you know, And shit, somebody told me what CON was. I'll think of it. I have a feeling of what it is. It's not control. It's not control. All right, I get to read all of this. While his existence is met with suspicion, his name remains widely known as that of a peerless swordsman. He was a beautiful swordsman who wielded a 3-foot-long longsword. And, god damn it, I gotta say it again. Mono Hoshizao. He is said to be born in the Iroku era and became famous during 1605 to 1612, but the truth is not clear. The books that feature Sasaki Kojiro have many contradicting time periods because his name was not even written down in the Book of Five Rings, written by Miyamoto Musashi, his most worthy opponent. According to records, Kojiro is from the... sorry guys, I'm really going to be struggling with the pronunciations, but Echizen province, and studied under Toda Saigen. He favored the longsword, and after defeating the master's younger brother, he named himself Ganryu. After that, he went around various lands as a martial artist and developed the secret sword technique Swallow Reversal, interesting, that can kill even a flying swallow in the Nishiki River in the Suo province. Then, after terrifying swordsmen in different lands, he died fighting Miyamoto Musashi at Funashima, what would later become Ganryujima, in order to maintain the honor of the domain he served. Because of his longsword, he could not fight while holding the sheath and discarded it in front of Musashi. Musashi is believed to have said the famous line, "Kojiro has been defeated," after seeing that. Miyamoto Musashi holds the record for being one of the best swordsmen in Japan. Sasaki Kojiro was viewed as a worthy opponent, but his real image is as uncertain as a reflection of the moon on water. People will say there was once someone like that, but the legend of Sasaki Kojiro that has been passed down to the present can only be that of a great but fictional swordsman that people fabricated. Interesting. That's interesting. So, could he be a real person, but, you know, with a lot of extra shit kind of sprinkled in? Who knows? That's an interesting one. So, presence concealment is a D. Okay. And mind's eye, false, is A. Resistance to modification caused by visual disturbances. It is the natural ability to predict danger, also known as a sixth sense or premonition. Noble Phantasm, absolutely, we know nothing. And then we have weapons, the laundry drying pole. That's the name of his sword, I guess. A long sword said to have been wielded by the great sword master Sasaki Kojiro. The laundry drying pole is only a nickname. The sword's real name is unknown. Its length is recorded to be over 3 shaku, with one shaku being 30 centimeters, so over 90 centimeters. But the blade assassin wields in this story is a non-standard 5 shaku sword closer to a spear in length. In combat, such a long reach is itself advantageous, but it seems absurdly impractical for a katana. The laundry drying pole would be effective enough in a one-on-one fight, but its length and weight would disadvantage its wielder. Surely there are no swordsmen able to handle this long sword to a satisfactory level save for assassin, whose esoteric techniques have exceeded human limits. There we have it. I wake up to a searing pain in my chest. It feels like I've just had a bad dream. That's called a heart attack, brother. My heart feels like it's burning. That's called heartburn, brother. Actually, it feels more heat from outside has been forced into my body. That's called the heater's on, buddy. I doubt myself briefly, but before I can think of what it might be, I find myself rushing outside. No, she is not. I open the sliding screen door to Saber's room. No, she did. No, there's no doubt. If she's not here, she went to Ryoto Temple on her own. I'm so angry, my head is starting to hurt. I didn't tell her I wasn't going to fight. Yeah, they did get into a little bit of an argument, you know? I just didn't want her to get hurt like that again. I'm sure she understands that, but she has to fight. You know, just there had to be some better reasoning, something to get through the thick head of hers. And honestly, some people were saying in the comments of the previous episode that that's just how she is. We're actually beginning to see how persistent that she is on something like this, and that's actually kind of a flaw. And then there's the idea that, you know, the master and the servant, they're kind of one and the same, you know? So obviously these two characters are vastly different, but they're so stubborn with their fucking ideals that I want to say that that's like the big, you know, connection there. There's no point in fuming here. I need to hurry to Ryoto Temple. I can't let Saber fight alone. Well, I don't know what good I can do for her, but if I get there, maybe I can do something. Yeah, we can definitely do something. That is quite the fucking line. I run. I don't even take the time to change. Out front, I grab a bike and pedal as fast as I can. We're heading over with striped pajamas or some shit. I pedal down the hill without braking. It'll take at least 40 minutes to Ryoto Temple even if I rush. I don't know how long it's been since Saber left, but I need to get to her as fast as I can. Damn, if only Castor was on our side. Ah, shit. We're having another interlude. We're going back to the fight, gamers. We're getting back to the thick of it here. The blades cross. The edges of both swords come into contact again and again, stroke after stroke. Sword and katana alike spark as they strike and parry. Several dozen exchanges like this later, and neither opponent has changed position. Assassin, standing higher on the steps, holds his ground. Saber, who is trying to advance up the stone steps, can't get any closer to Assassin. Over time, she bleeds more and more energy. One of Saber's many attempts at rushing in. Assassin effortlessly swings his long blade fully 1.5 meters and halts Saber's advance. No, he's not simply preventing an advance. If Saber's blade is lightning, Assassin's katana is a hurricane. Though Assassin may be no match for her in strength or speed, the flexible trajectory of his blade sweeps aside Saber's every attack. The ricocheting katana gains speed and flips back towards Saber's neck like a gust of wind. Even as Saber dodges the blow by only a hair breadth, the long katana flicks back toward her, giving her not a moment's rest. In contrast to Saber's straight sword, Assassin's blade is curved. Assassin's cutting edge is graceful, but it also draws a long extended arc. He shouldn't be able to match Saber's sword as it moves in a straight line, but he somehow cancels out that difference. She suddenly stops. Her blade isn't moving fast enough to block Assassin's counterattack. She falls back a pace, knowing it's the only way that she can avoid the incoming strike. Assassin's katana traces a fascinatingly beautiful arc, but at the same time, it is so fast that it's nearly impossible to follow. It's the seeming impossibility owed to Assassin's skill, or is it owed instead to Saber being at a disadvantageous position in their battle? Unable to reach a clear conclusion, Saber continues dodging Assassin's strikes and turns aside the blade as it arcs toward her neck with her own weapon. The next thing she knows, she has retreated a few more steps down the stairs. And we're not making too much progress here, gamers. That's the extent of his long katana's reach. It would be easy to rush up close to him once she sweeps his sword aside, but for some reason she just can't do it. It must be owed to the enemy's superb skills and her own position below him, which puts her at a disadvantage. Saber bites her lip, thinking she wouldn't have such a hard time against that long katana if they were on flat ground.
さすがにやりにくいな。見えない剣というものがこれほど厄介とは思わなんだ。
Sorry, I was getting a drink of water. This is a lot of talking. Assassin is unmoved. He is fighting purely to defend. He need not chase after a retreating Saber, nor does he have any reason to give up the advantage of higher ground.
見れば刀を見ることさえ初めてであろう。私の剣筋は邪道でな。波のものならば、まず一撃で首を落とす。それをここまで防ぐとは嬉しいぞ。 セイバー。加えて打ち込みも素晴らしい。その勝負でこれほどの剣撃を行うからには、さぞ鍛え抜かれた前身であろう。
Assassin watches Saber, his posture relaxed, perhaps simply because he needn't go on the offensive. The tip of his blade wavers, losing strength, but Saber cannot seize the opportunity. The man is not holding a stance. A long katana like that can only be wielded as long as the wielder is able to swing the sword from any position.
どうした？これで終わりというわけではあるまい。その不可視の剣。
いつまでも減らず口を。
But you have to talk during a fight. You have to, push the other person. The sword and katana clash.
よし、当たりだ。
The longsword stops mid-swing. Assassin grins, glancing at his katana where it stopped the invisible sword, and then parries again. While Saber catches the flash coming at her neck. Even Saber knows. she's been able to block Assassin's unfamiliar sword work thanks to her invisible sword. Her invisible sword can confuse the opponent's senses, both offensively and defensively. Assassin not following through on his attacks is proof of this. Not knowing how long Saber's sword is makes it too dangerous for Assassin to close in on her. If Assassin were to step in to attack Saber, he will do so when Saber tries to smash Assassin's forehead. That attack. Assassin dodges it completely as he takes just a step back.
よし、これで目測はついたな。刀身3弱余り、幅は4寸といったところか。形状は、セイバーの名の通り、典型的な西洋の剣だな。
Assassin may have spoken calmly, but his exceptional skill at appraising the blade is clear. Saber's strike had been so fast that even were her sword invisible, or actually visible, it would have been impossible to see, almost impossible. And yet not only has he managed to defend himself from the invisible blade, he's also figured out its size and shape.
信じられない。何の魔術も使わず、満足に打ち合ってもいないというのに、私の剣を測ったのですか。
ほう、驚いたか。だが、こんなものは大道芸であろうよ。邪剣使いゆえ、このような技ばかり上手くなる。
なるほど。私の一撃をまともに受けず、ただ払うだけがあなたの戦いだった。邪剣使いとは、その逃げ腰から来た俗称ですか。
いやいや、まともに打ち合わぬ無礼は許せ。何しろこの長刀だ。打ち合えば折れるは必定。お主としては力勝負こそが基本なのだろうが、こちらはそうはいかぬ。もとより刀というものはそういうものだ。西洋の剣はその重さと力で物を叩き切る。だが我らの刀は速さと技で物を断ち切るのだ。
And he does have that high agility stat.
戦いが噛み合わぬのは道理であろう。まあしかしこれではいささか興がそがれる。もう良い頃合いだぞ、セイバー。いい加減手の内を隠すのはやめにしろ。
アサシン、私があなたに手加減しているとでも。
していないとでも言うのか。何のつもりかは知らんが、剣を鞘に収めたまま戦とは舐められたものだ。私程度では本気を出すまでもないということか。ほう、それでも応じないという顔だな。よかろう。ならばここまでだ。お前が出し惜しみをするのなら、先に我が秘剣をお見せしよう。
I just want to throw out, I don't know if what he was saying was more of like, you know, a riddle of sorts by saying that she still has her sheath on her sword, or if maybe that actually is the case. I'm thinking it's more of the former, where she's just not going all out. And with that, the swordsman with the long katana drifts down next to Saber. For an assassin to give up his advantageous position is as good as inviting defeat. He may be a superb swordsman, but it was the landscape of their battleground that gave him the advantage. If the two are to fight on level ground, Saber should have no trouble repelling Assassin's attack and taking his head then and there. Assassin should know this as well. So why?
構えよ。出なければ死ぬぞ、セイバー。
Saber instinctively reacts to the smoothness in his voice, for he is speaking the truth. Assassin descending the steps has not put her in an advantageous position. Her intuition, which has enabled her to triumph in so many battles, warns her of her mistake. She readies her invisible sword. There's no room to hesitate. What matters is that she has to attack with her sword before Assassin swings his long katana. Uh-oh. Roughly 3 meters separates the two. His readies himself, Or was that supposed to say he readies himself? The stance he takes now is one that he has not taken in their battle so far. Uh-oh. Saber charges. The long katana is meaningless now. The moment she draws near Assassin, the katana will become a liability to him. And yet... Oh shit, we read about this. Such logic means little to a swordsman like him. Lightning strikes. Faster even than Saber's blade, the demonic blow strikes down in a single straight line. But it's not as if Saber cannot block such an attack. She quickly raises her sword to defend, repelling Assassin's attack. Even Assassin will be left open after an attack like that is turned aside. In that split-second interval, as Saber attempts to cut through Assassin's stomach. No, he's still going. Swiftly trusting in her instincts, Saber rolls down the stone steps. She rolls away as if she's fleeing. She makes no effort even to soften her landing. All Saber does is frantically hurl herself down the stairs, slowing for nothing. Saber stops rolling and gets to her feet. Above her on the stairs, she sees the swordsman standing at his ease.
Oh, かわしたか我が被験。さすがはセイバー。ツバメなどとは格が違う。
信じられない。今のはまさ。
何？そう大した芸ではない。たまさかツバメを切ろうと思いつき、身についただけのものだからな。
He raises his long katana up high. The motion is done as if to mimic the demonic sword's motions that he demonstrated earlier to intimidate Saber.
見えるか、セイバー。ツバメはな、風を受けて刀を避ける。早かろうが遅かろうが関係はない。どのような刀であろうと、大気を震わさずには触れぬであろう。連中は、その震えを感じ取り、飛ぶ方向を変えるのだ。故に、どのような一撃であれ、ツバメを断つことはできなかった。所詮刀など一本線に過ぎぬ。縦横に空を行くツバメを捉えられぬは道理よな。ならば、逃げ道を囲めばいいだけのこと。一の太刀でツバメを襲い、風を読んで避けるツバメの逃げ道を続く二の太刀で取り囲む。しかし連中は素早くてな。この長刀ではまず二の太刀が間に合わん。ことを成したければ一息のうち、ほぼ同時に行わなければならなかったが、そのような真似は人の技ではない。叶うことなどあるまいと承知したものだが、あいにくと他にやることもなかったのでな。一年寄進に通じるというが、気がつけばこの通りよ。ツバメを断つというくだらぬ思いつきは、複数の太刀筋で牢獄を作り上げる秘剣となった。
This really is some like wacky Bleach shit, I swear. I know I keep on bringing up Bleach, but it's all I can think about. Saber cannot help but disagree with his matter-of-fact narrative. It is untrue. His technique is not as simple as he claims. Execute two attacks simultaneously? Impossible. The two blades struck at exactly the same time. In that moment, there existed two separate katana.
奇襲はゼルレッジ。何の魔術も使わず、ただ剣技だけで宝具の域に達したサーバント。
It is most certainly to be admired. That single blow made it very clear. Sasaki Kojiro does not possess a noble phantasm as heroic spirits typically do. All he has is his magical sword and its sheer power, reaching the realm of the gods. What's astonishing is that this man, a mere human, has managed to stand on equal ground with a heroic spirit who possesses a noble phantasm.
だが、足場が悪かったな。ツバメ返しの奇跡は本来3つ。もうわずかに広ければ、横の一撃も加えられたのだが。
そうでしょうね。そうでなければ不完全です。すべてが同時であるなら、ニノたちはどうしても遅くなる。それを補うために、横方向への離脱を阻む3の太刀があるはずだ。
いい飲み込みの速さだ。だからこそ我が秘剣をかわしたか。
No, she got out of there quick.
素晴らしいぞ、セイバー。このような属性に呼び出された我が身を呪ったが、それも今宵まで。生前では叶わなかった立ち会い。我が秘剣を存分に振る舞える殺し合いができるのならば、呼び出された甲斐があるというもの。
Assassin readies his sword again and descends the stone steps. He must be after Saber's head. Saber is not confident as she will be able to dodge that secret technique again. Like Lancer's... How do you pronounce that again? I'm just gonna call it the gay bolg. Assassin's swallow reversal is a technique that one cannot allow the wielder to use. Except unlike gay bolg, against which one can defend once they understand what it is and know that it will strike at the heart, there is no defense against Assassin's secret technique. It cannot be evaded, even when one knows what it is. If there is a defense, it lies in preventing him from using the attack. The only way to defeat him is to deliver a devastating blow before Assassin can unleash his secret technique.
なるほど。確かに手加減など許される相手ではなかったようだ。
Ah, so you were. She lowers both of her hands. Saber drops the tip of her invisible sword as if driving it into the ground and glares up at Assassin as he approaches.
ほう、そうか。ようやくその気になったか、セイバー。
Assassin stops descending the stairs and readies his secret technique once more. Saber looks at him bravely. You know, I will have to
不
admit,
満がないのはこちらも同じだ。
I'm very impressed with this assassin character, based on everything that we've seen here. Like, I know that he's, you know, our enemy, but I really have to respect that he is at a disadvantage in having, like, no magic to his stuff. He doesn't. He has nothing. However, he has skill. He has that speed. And he has creativity. It's fascinating that he makes up for what he doesn't have.
我が一撃受け切れるか、アサシンのサーバント。
Saber releases her own restraints. The air trembles. As if responding to her will, her sword releases a torrential gust of wind. Assassin retreats several steps. The gale force winds released from Saber's sword are extraordinary. Even the thick trees on either side of the temple gates creak and groan. So strong is the wind, it all but explodes outward from her blade. The atmosphere sealed within is released and roars outward in all directions. Saber's sword releases a gust of wind that could easily carry off a human being. This is her blade's power. The invisible air is, as the name implies, a sword that has sealed up wind. The sword, sheathed in compressed wind, so it actually was sheathed, reflects and refracts light to give it the appearance of being invisible. This is what happens when the wind is released. The released air seeks escape and dissipates into its surroundings in chaotic gusts. That's interesting. During that time, her sword's commanding magecraft allows her to freely manipulate the raging wind. As Saber possesses incredible amounts of magical energy, she should be able to maintain the bounded field for a few minutes. The truth of this is made apparent by the fact that her sword, even after releasing so much energy, remains invisible.
さながら台風といったところだが、しかし。
The howling winds do not die down. The unleashed winds are about to engulf Assassin.
この程度のはずがない。その奥にあるもの、見せてもらうぞ、セイバー。
Assassin closes in despite the raging, blinding wind. Saber's arm moves. The wind-infused blade roars, readying itself to intercept Assassin, who advances calmly, slowly in spite of the gale-force winds, strong enough to prevent most people from even approaching. And we just cut it off there. But we do have new servant data. We do. And it might be for both of them? Maybe? Oh, hey, we finally made it. Okay, well, let's see here. Saber. Noble Phantasm? I mean, we've already we've read this, right? Is it a skill? I think we've already read all of this too, so maybe nothing is new on her. But what about Assassin? Nothing on his Noble Phantasm. Oh, it's his skills. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we've got more of his skills here. So the Swallow Reversal, a mystical anti-personnel or personnel sword technique. One person, a special move that slashes the opponent with 3 arcs at the same time. Apparently, it is one example of something called a multi-dimensional refraction phenomenon. It is a fatal sword that is impossible to avoid in a different sense from Gay Bulk, as we were talking about earlier. And then there's also Vitrify, a mind as serene as a clear mirror or still water, a mental defense mechanism that nullifies interference with the mind. Since he is not an assassin, okay, he cannot use the presence concealment assassin ability, but he can perform presence concealment in the form of a martial artist's blank mind state. And then there's the knowledge of Soa, a special skill where the hitting accuracy does not go down no matter how many times the same move is used on the same opponent. The attacks can no longer be seen through. So those are the updates I'm seeing there. When I reach Ryoto Temple, I'm greeted by the sound of air rushing at me like a typhoon. At the top of the stairs in front of the temple gates, I see an armored figure who must be Saber fighting someone wearing a kimono. The wind swirls around Saber, and the surrounding trees creak under the gale force intensity. Yeah, I wouldn't. The wind is so intense I can't even keep my eyes open. Head down, I manage to fight my way closer to the stairs, but the wind only gets stronger. I can't get closer to Saber. Far ahead I can see Saber fighting someone, but I can't do anything. No, even if I manage to get closer to Saber in this wind, I'll only hold her back. My left hand hurts again. The command spells engraved on the back of my hand tingle. I don't know what that means, but every time my hand tingles, I can't help but to remember that scene. It really is his, like, spider sense. I close my eyes and stretch my hands towards the stairs. I get down onto my hands and knees, hoping to avoid being blown off my feet, and begin crawling up the stairs. The wind intensifies. Even a novice mage like me can tell incredible amounts of magical energy are raging above me. It's definitely a lot of something. My command spells tingle. The roar of the wind warns me something is happening above. Saber's magical energy? If it is, she's a reckless individual. No. Should she even be doing something like that? Saber can't recover magical energy. She shouldn't be wasting it like this. I need to step in and handle the fighting, and have Saber support me instead, or else she might run out of magical energy. I mean, if she's able to, like, you know, kill this guy, then it was for something. It worked out. I stand up and start running up the stairs. Now's not the time to be crawling. I don't know what Saber has in mind, but I have to stop her. Oh shit. As I try to dash to the temple gate, something like a dagger flies right by me. I don't know what miracle let me dodge it. I turn to look away from the stairs into the trees. There's no doubt about it. I didn't notice it in this torrential wind, but there's someone hiding nearby. It's probably Ryder. I shout for whoever is hiding in the tree line. The strong winds should have drowned my voice out. To my surprise, my voice echoes up the stairs. I look up towards the temple gate. There. I see a man in a kimono wielding a long sword, and Saber's back.
そこまでにしておけ、セイバー。その被験、盗み見ようとする輩がいる。
The man in the kimono smiles as he speaks. Like me, he's staring out into the forest.
このまま続ければ、我らだけの勝負にはなるまい。生き残った者に そこに潜んだ恥知らずが襲いかかるか、それともお前の被験を盗み見るだけが目的なのか。どちらにせよ、あまり気乗りのする話ではないな。
Ooh, interesting. Maybe this shows that, whoever this guy is or whoever he serves is actually not in cahoots with the masters of Rider and Caster, one of them being Shinji. The man turns to climb the stairs, seemingly totally disinterested.
待て、決着をつけないつもりか、アサシン。
お前がこの三門を越えるというのであらば、決着はつけよう。何者であれ、この門をくぐることは私が許さん。だが、あいにくと私の役目はそれだけでな。帰るというのであらば止める気はない。まあ、そこに隠れているたわけは別だが、気に入らぬ相手であれば死んでも倒産し、生きても返さん。
Well, there we have that. Assassin continues up the stairs.
踊らされたな、セイバー。だが、もう一人の気配に気がつかなかった私も同じだ。あのままでおけば被験のすべてを味わえたであろうが、良いところで邪魔が入った。
Saber hangs her head in regret. Her intent to kill fades. Not because of Assassin's words, but because Saber must have realized that keeping up the fight would leave her at a disadvantage.
そら、迎えも来ている。そこにいる小僧はお前のマスターであろう。盗み見をするたわけが、その小僧に標的を変える前に立ち去るがいい。
Yeah, we've seen what happens from that. And just like that, Assassin disappears. It must be his way of telling us that he won't attack unless we keep going. Saber says nothing. She just stands there silently, her back to me.
Oi, Saber!
Even when I call to her, she doesn't answer. Huh? It seems strange, so I begin climbing the steps. Saber's armor vanishes. Defenseless, and in her simple blue clothing, she sways on the spot without turning around. I catch Saber in my arms as she falls backward down the stairs. She doesn't move a muscle. She's unconscious, eyes shut in pain. And we're just gonna be able to leave like this. I guess we are. Whatever threat we had in the previous episode just didn't decide to pursue. We finally get home. It took me 2 hours to carry Saber back from Ryoto Temple. I was worried the whole return trip, but we managed to get back safely. I lay Saber down in the hallway. Saber was really light. She probably only weighs about 40 kilos, so it shouldn't have tired me out so much. Or it wouldn't have, if she'd been still. I had no idea that carrying a sleeping person, even a girl, could be so much work. My fatigue is more mental than physical. The feel of her soft skin when I picked her up, her quiet breathing on me, it was all so distracting. I look at Saber as she lays there sleeping. She's probably not completely unconscious. Even if she looks like she's out cold, she might open her eyes the moment I call her name. Damn. There was so much that I wanted to tell her when I left the house, but I can't say anything with her sleeping looking like that. Even now, I keep my voice to a whisper. The moment I reach out to pick her up again.
まあいいけど、シローがどんな趣味してて何をしてるかなんて私には関係ないから。
But what? For some reason, Tosaka is in the hallway watching even though it's after 2 in the morning. Yeah, she's been up this late before.
何よ、お化けでも見たような顔しちゃって。別に文句はないから続けていいわよ。私は水飲みに起きただけだし。
Oh, so this is an out of context situation.
いや違う、これは違う、すごく違う。その話せば長くなるんだが、つまりセイバーを部屋に連れて行こうとしただけなんだが、俺の言ってることを分かってくれるか。
ええ、まあそれなりに。
嘘つけ、全然分かってない口ぶりだぞ今の。
だから分かってるってば。セイバーが一人で戦いに行って、
No,
シロ
that's
ーはそ
actually
れを止めて
perfect.
きたんでしょ。
Nail on the head.
で 何らかのトラブルがあってセイバーが気絶して戻ってきた。
Yes.
どう？これでいい？
You nailed it.
うんすごい全問正解だけどなんだってそこまでわかるんだよお前。
わかるわよ。セイバーが単独で戦いを仕掛ける可能性は高かったし、サーバントが戦いを始めればマスターにだって伝わるわ。
そうかそれはいいけど。
So Tosaka knew Saber would go out by herself.
で、どうするの？セイバーを部屋に連れて行くんじゃないの？ここに寝かしてたらいくらサーバントでも風邪ひくと思うけど。
いやだから部屋に連れて行こうと思って今。
I tried to lift her up, but yeah, can you lend us a hand here, please, by all means. It's kind of awkward with Tosaka watching.
トサカ悪いけどセイバーを運んでくれないか。
私が？まあいいけど。じゃあお茶でも入れてくれる？少し二人の話に興味があるから。
I think that's a fair trade. Tosaka picks Saber up. Her being so understanding has me a little worried, but since I asked her for a favor, I'd better go make some tea. That's the way to go about it here. Oh boy. This is interesting. We've pretty much come across all of the servants at this point. We have not come across all the masters. We barely have any of the true names. We actually really don't even know about Caster yet, but I don't know. I feel like that time is coming, and that is going to be a tough one right there. I think Caster is going to be fucking broken. I think every servant is broken in their own way, but Caster has me concerned. But I think we'll call it there. I think we made some really good progress here. I would argue at least that we made some pretty good progress. But yeah, we'll get back to it, and at the start of the next episode, we get to listen to the ticking of this clock while I do the intro. Just throwing that out there. But thank you all for coming out and watching this episode. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy.